Hi, everybody. Welcome into Sports Talk Chicago. My name's Jon Zaghloul. Great to have you here on Channel 59.3 B Pod TV and Roku. We're broadcasting live from the WCKG studios here in Chicago. We have a lot to get to today. Justin Fields may want to trade, and how should the Bears handle this situation? We'll talk about it in just a second. Before we get started, make sure you follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Jon Z Sports and on Facebook at Jon Zaghloul. You want to watch more of this show? Search up Sports Talk Chicago on YouTube or go to sportstalkchicago.com. You want to watch more shows from the BPOD TV network. Search up BPOD TV on YouTube. I want to start today with this. Support means a lot to people. That's not just a football lesson or a baseball lesson. It's life. You need support if you want to grow, if you want things to go well. You want to be in a positive environment where there are no problems, where you can be happy. You need support and encouragement. You're at a job and you see none of that, you'd leave, right? You'd quit. If they pass you over for promotions, if they give you nothing to support yourself and help yourself out, you're going to go. If there's no benefit to you, you will leave. And it makes sense. I'm sure you've had that before. I know I have too. If there's no support, if there's no benefit to me, why am I going to do it? Right? Why would I stick around and grind it out when I could find something better, something else that's going to be more beneficial for me and my life? Life lesson, not just football, but we could apply it to football. We could apply it to the Bears and Justin Fields. Big article came out a few days ago, caused tons of controversy on Twitter, saying essentially that Justin Fields should request a trade. Everybody freaked out. What are you talking about? What did the Bears do to him? They did nothing wrong. Well, let's review the tape over the past 12 months. The Bears moved up to get him. Matt Nagy pretty much sabotaged him. Nothing around him. And now we sit here today and Brian Poles has completely decimated the roster for good reason, but still, Justin Fields as of today is one of the worst rosters around him in the NFL. Now, the Bears are hoping that he could wait, give them some time to rebuild for 2023 and beyond. We all know the shtick by this point. We know the whole point of this rebuild. Oh, $120 million in cap space. Here come the Bears. 2022 is going to be bad, but what about 2023? I understand that. I would hope Justin Fields does too. But for people to freak out about this article, for them to say, oh, the Bears are a first-class organization, they've treated Justin Fields so well, there should be no reason why he asks for a trade, that is ridiculous. So much hatred about this article. Really think about the situation, though. Everybody wants to be a fan first, and that's fine, but when you come to me, it's information first, then fandom. Fandom's like last on my list. Let's be real here. Let's talk realistically what's going on with the Bears and Justin Fields. Let's see. New coach, new offense, another regime change after just 1 year. That's a problem for a quarterback. That's something that would turn you off if you're a quarterback, right? One and done with a head coach and GM that actually sabotaged you on top of it. In fact, I'll take it one step further. Why'd the Bears keep around Matt Nagy when they had a new quarterback coming in? That just goes to show you they chose Matt Nagy over Justin Fields, over Mitch Trubisky, over everybody. The Bears stuck by Matt Nagy. They stuck by Ryan Pace. Now we know where their loyalty was and is. So, yeah, if I'm Justin Fields and I'm a rookie quarterback and I know what happened with Mitch Trubisky, I know what's going on with Matt Nagy, and then I get drafted by that same team and they affirm their commitment to Matt Nagy and say, you know what, we're confident in him with this new rookie quarterback, then this performance ensues, yeah, I'd be pretty ticked off, wouldn't you? It's like if I took a new job, the last guy got fired because of the boss, then I come in and the boss is an ass to me. I'm wondering what the hell's going on here. I would want to leave. Why'd the company pick that boss over the employee when it was the boss's fault? Why'd the Bears pick Matt Nagy over Mitch Trubisky, then over Justin Fields even to an extent? and not the quarterback. This team forever has looked, has drafted, has signed, has tried to find a quarterback. They still can't. And yet they signed with the coach in this situation. So yeah, if I'm a rookie, if I'm Justin Fields, then I see what happened last year. What a disaster it was. 7 touchdowns, 10 picks, 11 fumbles, no offensive line, no weapons. Matt Nagy calling plays and sabotaging me. Yes. I wouldn't mind, or I wouldn't at least not consider being traded or requesting one. I doubt it's going to happen. And this article, in general, was all speculation. None of this is insider information. But here's my thing. Would you blame Justin Fields for asking for one? And everybody's going to say, oh, hey, the Bears are building around him. They're committed to him. Didn't you see the press conference? Yes, I understand that. But how about the optics from last year? That's what this is all going off of. That's what this article is going off of. Last year. What happened last year? Look at that team. How about game 1? Justin Fields' first ever time really coming into a game. Oh, yeah, 9 sacks will throw you to the wolves. What a great job at protecting your franchise quarterback, huh? I would take it personally. And that's what I think this article is trying to get across. Nobody's coming after the Bears or Bears fans and saying, oh, hey, trade Justin Fields, watch out. That's not the point of this article. So don't get outraged. The point of it is, there were times last year, and there are even times right now where the Bears, it seems like, are not prioritizing Justin Fields enough. That's a big problem. I understand he's a rookie quarterback, and really, what kind of say does he have? But if you're going to proclaim to everybody again that he's the savior, that he's this brand new, big-time quarterback that you drafted and traded up for, then you know what? You better invest in him. You better put something around him to work. I'm sorry, but look at this Bears team. Come on. I could sit here and be positive and look forward to 2023, but we can't hide 2022. You can hear people spin it and say, hey, this guy did this over here, this over there. The fact is, the Bears do not have enough weapons right now for Justin Fields. They're going to wait and see what happens in the draft. Maybe they move up, get a big wide receiver, which would be great. But the fact is right now, all they got is Darnell Mooney and David Montgomery. And David Montgomery, by the way, he's nearing a contract extension. Chances are the Bears won't extend him. So what else do you have for Justin Fields right now? Oh, yeah, you got St. Brown from the Packers with a career-high 98 receiving yards in a season. Good job. You want a budget shop today? That's fine. But guess what? If I were Justin Fields, I'd say, okay, I'll give you 1 year here. If you are not surrounding me with weapons by year 3, we got a problem here. Big problem. And if I were Justin Fields, I would request a trade, or at least think about it. It says in this article, first sentence, through no fault of his own and really through no fault of his current coach or GM, Justin Fields is going to take snaps under center in 2022, surrounded by what is on paper one of the NFL's worst rosters. One of the NFL's worst rosters. A rebuilding roster that has no offensive might whatsoever, and even a defensive part of the roster that needs work and is on the budget right now. It's a budget-type roster. All I'm saying is, if I'm Justin Fields, don't be too patient here. Because you've seen the track record for the Bears. This is like Cleveland Browns football. And I know the Browns are better now, but look at how they treat their players, even Baker Mayfield. I don't care about the fact that, oh, he's not that good. Deshaun Watson's better, whatever it might be. Look how they treated a first-round pick in Baker Mayfield. They kind of forced him out this year. Baker played this year hurt. Messed up his shoulder, messed up his knee, played through it. And what's his reward for that? For grinding it out with the Cleveland Browns, for going through 3 different coordinators. What's his reward? Oh, yeah, we're going to bring in Deshaun Watson, and you're kind of out the door. The Browns have always treated their players like crap. Now the Bears are going to be doing the same, it looks like, or I would hope not, but that's what it looks like here. We're talking about optics. We're talking about how things look. And right now, things don't look too good for Justin Fields. It does not look like to me that the Bears are really putting his interests first right now. Now, I would hope by 2023 that's going to be fine. But here's my problem with that. I'm fine with waiting. I'm fine with giving them time. But the fact is, What about injuries? What about getting him killed again? Okay, we saw what happened last year, right, with the Browns, with that offensive line. What's going to happen now? You need some more offensive line help. You need some more wide receivers. I don't care if they're draft picks, but they're better than what you have today. Really, I'd rather invest my time and money in a rookie. They have more upside than the guys they've signed, especially the wide receivers. I just don't think at this moment the Bears have done enough. I want to give Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus tons of time. We need to give them patience. I know. I get it. But I shouldn't be blamed for being worried about Justin Fields. About the fact that the Bears historically have not had good quarterback play, have not really built around their quarterback, chose Matt Nagy last year over a new offensive guy with Justin Fields. This stuff scares me. It really scares me. And that's going to be a concern. So for those of you so mad about this report, what I say is, guess what? It might be a reality more than you think it is. It might be. Why wouldn't it be? Give me one good reason today why Justin Fields should be happy here in Chicago. I'm waiting. Seriously, what should make him happy to be here right now? It's a rebuild. Last year, I'm a rookie quarterback, and you guys kept a crappy coach that ruined another top pick. I don't know. I don't blame Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus. I blame management. I blame Ted Phillips, George McCaskey, and we've talked about this at length so far this offseason. You could bring in a new GM, new head coach. The fact is, it's McCaskey and Phillips still running the show. That's been the biggest problem for the Bears. And now look what's happening. This is not reckless speculation. Prove to me right now, all of you watching, comment on the video, find me on Twitter at Jon Z Sports. Tell me why Justin Fields has any incentive to stay right now. What should make him excited about being with this team? Remember last year, they chose Matt Nagy to stay because he would be the great guy to help out Justin Fields. Didn't work. So they chose a coach over Justin Fields. They put him in at the wrong time and had him suffer. The whole year he suffered. Now new head coach, new GM, and guess what? This year, nothing around him. It's going to be really hard to judge Justin Fields this year, even. When you're throwing to St. Brown, and your only real target at this point is Darnell Mooney, yeah, it's going to be even hard to judge him at that point. These are a lot of problems for this team. And I would only hope that things get better. I know they have $120 million free in cap space for 2023. I know this year is not going to be easy for the Bears. But I'm just worried about this rookie quarterback. I saw what happened to Mitch Trubisky. Whether he was talented or not doesn't matter. The fact is, he was sabotaged, and we all know it. I don't want the same for Justin Fields. I don't. I don't wish him any ill will. I want him to succeed. I want to see the Bears actually have a good quarterback for once. This is annoying after a while. Every year, new quarterback, so excited, free agent signing or draft pick, and it never works. And there are always different contributing reasons, but the fact is it still never works. And last year was a train wreck. Put in Fields too early, didn't support him, had nobody around him. Had a coach who was sabotaging other players, and Fields chose that coach who hurt Mitch Trubisky and said, you know what? He'll do good with Justin Fields. Let's keep him there. Now there's a headache when it comes to the cap situation, headache when it comes to this team, players, personnel, that has to be fixed over a year with Ryan Poles. Meanwhile, Justin Fields is not being prioritized yet. Not right now. I don't know if I'm a quarterback and I see this sort of situation, I shouldn't be blamed for wanting to leave. There are players who've been given more and have still left. There have been. There have been players who've been given more in the NFL and still request a trade or want to leave. Look at Kyler Murray right now, even. Although Kyler Murray's a different situation, still, Kyler Murray has a lot going for him in Arizona. No question. He wants to be gone. Justin Fields has absolutely nothing. Zero. And he's still sticking it out. That goes to show you his character, and it certainly increases my respect for him, but still I feel bad for him. Doesn't matter. I feel horrible about this. Just really hope they build around him. I really hope things get better. I don't like where this is right now for the Bears. I know we have to be patient. I know we have to wait and see what comes, especially in the draft. And, maybe in a month, I'm making a completely different video about how great the Bears did in the draft and how great things are going to look. But right now, at this moment, it's not looking good, at least for next year. And mentally, for Justin Fields to endure another season like last year coming up, that could be a problem for his career. I brought this up a couple of times before. I'll say it again. Josh Rosen. Now, I think Justin Fields is 10 times more talented than Josh Rosen. No question. Josh Rosen, I always thought was going to be a bust, but here's what I was wrong about with Rosen. It wasn't necessarily all on him. Rookie year, a new head coach, defensive-minded guy, rookie head coach in Arizona, worst offensive line in football, no time to throw it, threw him into the Wolves, horrible year. That stained the rest of his career. Then they draft Kyler Murray, trade him away, and he never recovered. And then never had another coach who would really develop him. Then he went to Miami. That didn't work, throwing too many picks. Now he's just a backup, even trying to find work in the NFL. That's not fair. That's not right. And that happened to Rosen. That's my point. That was unfair. And why did it happen? Well, no support from coaching, no offensive line, no weapons, and now scarred for life. And his career is pretty much over. Didn't help that he was so cocky. I remember that quote where he said when he was drafted, I was drafted ninth. Well, all these teams made a mistake. The 8 guys before me are not as good as me. Okay, obviously wrong. But the fact is, regardless, he was never given a fair opportunity to succeed in the NFL. Not once. And now he'll never get one. I mean, his name is so tarnished and stained, it's never going to happen again. Don't want that to happen to Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields is more mentally tough. I think he can deal with more adversity for sure. I'm not saying that's going to happen to him. You got to remember the mental side of the game. Again, how would you feel if you got a new job, if you were working somewhere and your boss sucked, you had nothing around you to help you succeed, and it had already been 1 year on the job? So you'd already been there for 1 year, boss is horrible, and they give you nothing to help yourself out. Like, let's say you're a salesman. They give you no leads for a year, horrible boss. And you've been there for a year. Yeah, I'd want to leave. I'd say, what the hell's this? That could be the same situation with Justin Fields. That's why I just exercise a lot of caution about the situation. But, all we could do is hope for the best. And I would hope that Ryan Poles has somewhat of a plan. I would hope that they at least had meetings with Fields about what's going to happen. Because right now, this is obviously scary. And you have to include Fields on some input. If you're going to say he's the franchise quarterback and you want to build around him, you need to include him on some input here. Can't just be all you guys running the show behind the scenes and leaving him in the dark. It's a different game now. Quarterbacks are so important to a team's success. I've seen people comment saying, John, what are you talking about? Justin Fields deserves no say. Well, not necessarily, and here's why. He's supposed to be the franchise quarterback. The Bears traded up to get him, and I'll tell you this much. If they strike out on Justin Fields, not that it's going to happen, but if it did, the Bears wouldn't be good again for at least another 5 years. So, yeah, he should be at least somewhat included on the team's situation. I wouldn't be able to fathom the Bears being bad for 5 years or not having another quarterback for 5 more years, 6 more years. That just wouldn't be right. So the point being, I don't blame the writer of this article. I don't blame him for the speculation. And I wouldn't blame Justin Fields today if he said, you know what? I want out. Bears fans would be in a frenzy, but do you really blame him? Sit back and think to yourself. What have the Bears done for him? What have the Bears truly done to help out Justin Fields, his development, his career, his success in the NFL? So far, a whole lot of nothing. And I'm willing to give them a chance to do it in year 2. But as we speak today, as we speak on April 18th, 2022, the fact is it's been a big bad 0. What have the Bears done for Justin Fields? They've surrounded him with little to no talent. Still not a good enough offensive line. You kept a coach that frankly sucked and sabotaged his own players at some point. Why would he want to stay? And if you were in that similar situation, would you want to stay? Doubt it. I doubt it. And I wouldn't blame you. The great resignation, right, around the country. Why are people quitting so much? Well, they're not happy. Nobody goes into an uproar when, somebody quits. Not really. Everybody kind of understands it. There's probably a reason behind it. Then they go find a different job with a different and better situation. Justin Fields would have his fair share of suitors right now if he was, quote unquote, available. He would. A lot of teams, I'm sure, would show some sort of interest. Some that have better ready-made situations for him and his benefit. So don't think of this as reckless speculation and stupidity. Think of this as, well, what have the Bears done for Justin Fields so far? It's been a train wreck. Justin Fields may have to prove himself next year, for sure, but the Bears have to prove themselves to him, too. It goes both ways. The Bears do have to prove themselves to him. Tell you this much, if Justin Fields shows some sort of improvement next year, then come next offseason, there's no spending, limited spending. They're going after the wrong guys. Yeah, if I were Justin Fields, I'd say goodbye. Quarterbacks are so rare in this league, and they have a lot of the power. Look at what happened with Deshaun Watson. Even with all those civil suits, he still had some power, which is shocking, but nevertheless, it happened. Quarterbacks have power right now. And if you're a team that will not develop a quarterback or not build around him or not cater to him, he has every right to leave. I would hope Justin Fields never leaves. But guess what? It's on the Bears to prove it. And so far, there's been nothing to show it. Thanks for watching today's show here on BPOD TV, channel 59.3 in Roku. Really appreciate the time. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Jon Z Sports and on Facebook at Jon Zaghloul. If you want to watch more of this show, search up Sports Talk Chicago and Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and sportstalkchicago.com. And tune in right here every night at 10:30 on BPOD TV. So long, everyone.